Hello class, and welcome to Notes, Complementary and Supplementary Angles. Our Common Core standard is 7.G.5. Notice this is the same standard from the last set of notes. And we're using what we used on the last set of notes, but we're adding more to it. So, our standard is use facts about supplementary, complementary, vertical, and adjacent angles in a multi-step problem to write and solve simple equations for an unknown angle in a figure. We have two vocabulary words today: complementary angles, two angles whose sum is 90 degrees, and supplementary angles, two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. Now notice we use the word sum, which means those two angles are adding up to those amounts. Also, notice it does not say anywhere that they have to be adjacent angles. This is important. Those angles do not have to be touching. All we care about is that their sum is either 90 degrees or 180 degrees. So let's go ahead to teacher example 1. Remember, pencils down. So go ahead and just follow along with me. First question says, tell whether the angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. Notice on angle A, or problem A, the angles are not touching. They are not adjacent. However, if we add 70 plus 110, we do get a sum of 180 degrees. Because they add up to 180 degrees, we know they must be supplementary angles. Problem B, they look like they form a right angle, but we always want to check the numbers and make sure they actually do. Because if they're a degree or two off, they no longer work. So we go ahead and add 49 plus 41 and we get 90 degrees. So they are in fact complementary angles. Final problem, problem C, we've got 128 and 62 degrees. We add those together and we get 190 degrees. So although they are very close to supplementary angles, they are in fact neither complementary nor supplementary. Okay, so go ahead and try these on your own. Pause your video, try them out, make sure you're writing your notes down. Then press play when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, let's take a look and see what you did. Hopefully you added these two together on number 1, got 90 degrees and found them to be complementary. Number 2, you added the two numbers together and found them to be supplementary. And number 3, again, they look like they fit together. They are almost complementary angles. But as you can see, 70 plus 19 is 89 degrees, not 90 degrees, so they are neither. Okay, teacher example 2, pencils down. Tell whether the angles are complementary or supplementary, then find the value of x. So I kept this open since we've already done this part. We know that they make a right angle, so their sum is 90 degrees, so they must be complementary. Now is the tricky part. We know they need to have a sum of 90 degrees, so if I add this section here plus this section here, my total equals 90. So if I set that up as equation, that would be 4x plus 36 equals 90. Now I can use my inverse operations to get x by itself. So instead of adding 36, I want to subtract 36 from both sides. I end up with 4x equals 54. I still don't have x by itself. I need to move the 4 by dividing both sides by 4, and I end up with x equals 13 and 5/10. You could have also said 13 and 1/2 would work as well. Okay, the next problem, problem B. Notice I left this up here, that we already know that they add up to 180 because of that straight line. Whenever we have a straight angle, we know the total is 180. So these two, the sum of those two is going to be 180. Now this one's a little trickier. Notice we've got one side is x, one side is x minus 4, and the total of the whole thing is 180, so we can set it up. Now x plus x is going to give us 2x. Now we can go ahead and subtract 4. One thing I want you to be careful of here, many students look at it like the distributive property, but notice this is not multiplication, it's addition, so you're not going to distribute the x. You simply add the two x's together. Now we can add 4 to both sides to undo this subtraction. And then we need to divide both sides by 2 to get x by itself. And we end up with x equals 92 degrees. So this one's 92. This one's 92 minus 4. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to teacher example 3. Draw a pair of adjacent supplementary angles so that one angle has a measure of 60 degrees. So, step 1, we need to use a protractor to draw a 60-degree angle, which we can do right there. Step 2, we need to extend one of the sides to form a line. It doesn't matter which one we do. We can either use our straight edge to extend this line here or this line here. We only need to extend one of them. So in this case, we extend this bottom line, and we have two angles. We know they're supplementary because they form a straight angle. One is 60, and hopefully you realize that the other then must be 120. Okay, let's go ahead and give you some time to practice on your own. Student practice 2 and 3, pencils up. Tell whether the angles are complementary or supplementary, then find the value of x. And also I'd like you to draw a pair of adjacent supplementary angles so that one angle has a measure of 15 degrees. Go ahead and press play when you're ready to see the answers. Okay, number 4. These are supplementary angles, and when you add them together, they are going to equal 180. Use your inverse operations and you'll find that x equals 33 and 5/10, or 33 and 1/2. Number 5, we can see clearly they are complementary angles, so we know the two angles will add up to equal 90 degrees. Then doing our inverse operations to solve for x, we'll find that x is 31 degrees. And finally, taking a look at our picture that we've drawn, draw a pair of adjacent supplementary angles so that one angle has a measure of 15 degrees. Adjacent means they need to be touching. One of them is 15 degrees. The other one, hopefully you were able to figure it out, would be 165 degrees. Okay, hopefully you understood this lesson. If you need to review, please go back and re-watch the video, and have a great day.